The station floated at the edge of known space, far from busy trade lanes and royal attention. It was old, patched together from different eras, and powered by systems that groaned when they woke up. This was where Evan Hale worked. He was a human mechanic, one of the few willing to take contracts this far out. The pay was low, the danger was high, but the machines were honest. When something broke, it broke for a reason. Evan trusted that. He was inside a cargo bay, half buried under a maintenance drone, when the alarms began to sound. They were not the loud, panicked alarms that meant hull breach or reactor failure. These were quiet, controlled signals. Docking request. Priority level unknown. Evan slid out, wiped grease from his hands, and checked the console. The incoming ship did not match any civilian or military profile in the database. Its energy signature was unstable, flickering like a dying star. The hull scan showed severe damage along the rear section. Someone's barely holding together, Evan muttered. The station controller sent a warning. The ship was requesting immediate docking, medical and technical support, and full privacy. That last part made Evan pause. Ships that asked for privacy usually had something to hide. Still, he approved the docking. Out here, refusing help could mean death. The vessel drifted into the bay, guided by emergency thrusters. Up close it was beautiful even in ruin. Smooth curves, silver-blue plating, and symbols etched into the hull that glowed faintly. Evan recognized the style at once. Avariel. His stomach tightened. The Avariel were a winged alien species, tall and graceful, known across the galaxy for their strict hierarchy and ancient laws. Their queens ruled not just by command, but by presence. Even other empires treated them carefully. "What is an Avariel ship doing here?" Evan whispered. The bay sealed.
Ship powered down.
Silence followed. Then the ramp lowered. Evan expected guards, soldiers, or at least an official envoy. Instead, two figures emerged, slowly, supporting a third between them. Evan froze. The one in the center was taller than the others. Her feathers dull and stained with dried blood. Her wings, wide, elegant wings that should have been folded proudly, hung broken and uneven. One was twisted, at an unnatural angle. The other dragged along the floor, feathers snapping under their own weight. Even injured, her presence filled the bay. It took Evan a moment to breathe again. "The Queen," one of the attendants said, voice tight with fear and exhaustion. "You will kneel." Evan did not. Not out of disrespect, out of shock. He had never seen an Avariel queen in person. Most beings never did. They ruled from high worlds and protected skies, and yet here she was, wounded, standing in his broken station. "I'm a mechanic," Evan said slowly, "not a court official." The attendants bristled, but the queen lifted a hand. Her eyes, bright gold despite the pain, focused on Evan. "You are human," she said. Her voice was calm, but each word carried weight. "You were recommended." That surprised him more than anything else. "Recommended by who?" Evan asked. "Those who survive because of you," she replied. The attendants helped her to a medical platform. Evan noticed how carefully they avoided touching her wings, as if even damaged they were sacred. "Your healers did not come?" Evan asked. "They failed," the queen said simply. "My wings are not only flesh, they are power. They are balance. The damage is complex." Evan approached slowly. He had worked on alien ships, alien limbs, even alien neural systems, but nothing like this. The wings were not just biological. Beneath torn skin and shattered bone, he could see faint lines of light, energy pathways like conduits woven into living tissue. He swallowed. "This is more than medicine," he said. "Yes," the queen replied. "That is why we are here." One of the attendants stepped forward. "Human, understand this. Her wings define her right to rule. Without them, she is..." "Enough," the queen said. She turned her gaze back to Evan. "Can you fix what others could not?" Honesty mattered more than pride. "I don't know," he said. "But I know this. Everything that flies follows rules. Force, balance, structure. Even living things." The queen studied him as if weighing his soul. "Then you may try," she said. The attendants reacted with alarm. "Your Majesty!" "If he fails," the queen continued, "I lose nothing I have not already lost." The words were calm, but Evan heard the truth beneath them. He prepared the bay, converting it into a hybrid repair and medical space. He brought out scanners meant for starship frames and tuned them to read organic energy. The data that appeared made his head spin. Her wings were shattered along multiple levels. Bone fractures, torn muscles, burned energy channels. Worse, the internal lattice that distributed lift and power was collapsed. Alien healers had tried to restore flesh, but that was not enough. The structure itself was broken. Evan leaned back, exhausted just from looking. They tried to heal you like a body, he said quietly. But your wings are closer to engines. The Queen's eyes narrowed. Explain. When a ship loses a wing, you don't just seal the hole, Evan said. You rebuild the frame. You reroute power. You reinforce stress points. Silence filled the bay. The attendants looked horrified. You would treat the Queen like a machine, one hissed. I would treat her like something that deserves to fly again, Evan replied. The Queen did not look away from the scans. Do it, she said. The work took hours, then days. Evan barely slept. He used flexible alloys to replace shattered supports, weaving them carefully so they could move with her muscles. He reinforced weak points, added shock absorbers made from ship-grade materials, and gently reconnected energy channels using tools no healer had ever touched. The pain was intense. The Queen never cried out. Sometimes she watched him work. Why do you do this? She asked once. Evan paused. Because someone told me it couldn't be fixed. That answer seemed to satisfy her. Slowly, readings improved. Power began to flow. The wings twitched, then lifted slightly. The attendants stared in disbelief. On the 7th day, Evan stepped back. I've done all I can, he said. The rest of the Queen stood. Carefully, she spread her wings. They were not the same as before. Lines of metal gleamed beneath feathers. The shape was stronger, sharper. She flexed once. The station shook. Energy surged through the bay as the Queen lifted from the platform, hovering for a brief, impossible moment before landing smoothly. For the first time since she arrived, she smiled. You have returned what defines me, she said. Evan let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. I just fixed what was broken, he said. The Queen stepped closer, her presence overwhelming. In my people's law, she said, the one who restores a queen's wings does more than heal. He binds himself to her fate. Evan blinked. I didn't agree to that. You agreed to help, she replied. That is enough. Outside the station, Averiel ships began to arrive, drawn by a signal that carried power and promise. Evan looked at the sky beyond the bay doors and felt something shift in the galaxy. He had fixed a wing. The station did not feel small anymore. After the Queen's wings moved again, after the energy surge echoed through metal and bone, everything changed. The quiet edge of space repair station became the center of attention for an entire species. Averiel ships arrived in controlled formations, their hulls shining like blades. They did not dock at once. They waited, circling, watching. Evan felt it in the air. Pressure. Expectation. He stood near the main bay window, arms crossed, grease still under his nails. He had slept for only a few hours in the last week, and his body felt heavy. His mind felt worse. She really flew, he murmured. Behind him, the Queen stood tall. Her wings were folded now, but they no longer dragged. They held shape, strength. The metal within them reflected light softly, not as a wound, but as part of her. She did more than fly, one of the attendants said quietly. She returned. Evan turned. You're saying that like she was gone? The attendant looked at him, eyes serious. In our culture, a queen without wings is a queen waiting to be replaced. That made Evan uncomfortable. I didn't mean to interfere with your politics, he said. The Queen's voice came calm and steady. Yet you did, and you did so by doing what no one else would. She walked toward the window and looked out at the ships. Her posture was different now. Before she had carried pain like a weight. Now she carried authority like armor. They will want answers, Evan said. Yes, she replied, and they will want you. That part hit harder than he expected. I didn't fix you for power, Evan said. I fixed you because you were broken. The Queen turned her head slightly, one golden eye watching him. That, she said, is why they fear you. The first delegation arrived within the hour. High-ranking Averiel nobles, military leaders, and healers filled the bay. Their feathers were pristine, their wings unmarked. When they saw the Queen standing without support, a ripple moved through them. Some bowed deeply, others stared. One elder stepped forward. Your Majesty, we received your signal. We feared the worst. You feared succession, the Queen corrected. The elder did not deny it. You fly again, another noble said, eyes locked on the reinforced wings. But those wings are changed. "They are functional," the Queen replied. "That is not the question," the noble said sharply. "They are altered by human hands." All eyes turned to Evan. He suddenly wished he were back under a broken engine, ignored by the galaxy. "I used what I had," Evan said evenly. "Your healers tried to restore flesh. I restored structure." A healer stepped forward, feathers bristling. "You replaced sacred bone with dead metal." Evan shook his head. "No. I supported living bone with something strong enough to carry it." The Queen raised a hand. Silence fell instantly. "My wings are mine," she said. "They failed me once. Now they will not." She spread them slightly. The air hummed. "If any here doubt my right to rule," she continued, "you may test me in the skies." No one spoke. No one challenged her. That settled one matter. But another remained. The elder looked at Evan again. "According to ancient law," he said slowly, "the one who restores the wings of a queen becomes bound." Evan felt his jaw tighten. "I didn't know your laws." "Law does not require permission," the elder replied. The Queen stepped forward. "The law exists to protect balance. Evan Hale restored that balance." She turned to Evan. "You are under my claim." The word echoed. Claim. Evan exhaled. "What does that mean exactly?" A low murmur spread through the room. Humans did not usually ask questions like that to queens. "It means," the Queen said, "that no Avriel may harm you. It means your life is now tied to mine. It means your actions reflect upon my rule." Evan frowned. "Sounds like a prison." "It is not," she said. "It is protection." "Protection from who?" Evan asked. The answer came sooner than expected. The station alarms screamed again. This time they were not calm. Unidentified vessels dropped from hyperspace at the edge of sensor range. Not Avriel. Their signatures were sharp, aggressive. Raiders? Mercenaries? Or worse? The Queen's wings flared slightly. "They have come for you." Evan's heart sank. "For me? For what you represent," she corrected. Screens filled with incoming data. A hostile fleet was moving fast, weapons charging. "They want proof that humans can change queens," one of the military leaders said grimly. "Or they want to erase that possibility." Evan swallowed. "My station doesn't have weapons." "It does now," the Queen said. She turned to the Avariel commanders. "Form defensive pattern. Protect the station." The commanders hesitated. "The human?" one asked. "Is under my claim," the Queen said firmly. "He will not be touched." The battle was short but violent. Avriel ships moved with elegant precision, their formations shifting like living wings. Energy fire lit the dark. Evan worked fast, rerouting power, boosting shields beyond their original limits. He used old tricks, improvised solutions, things he had learned fixing junk no one else cared about. "Shield integrity holding," he called out. The Queen watched the battle from the bay, her wings trembling with restrained motion. When a hostile ship broke through the line and fired at the station, she moved. With a single leap, she launched into space. Evan stared in shock as she flew, not clumsily, not carefully, but with control and speed. Her wings cut through vacuum, energy rippling along the reinforced lines. She struck the enemy ship like a storm. The battle ended minutes later. Silence returned, heavier than before. The Queen landed inside the bay, feathers glowing faintly, wings steady. She looked at Evan. "You see now," she said, "why my people fear change." Evan nodded slowly. "You're stronger than before." "Yes," she agreed. "Because of you." The nobles bowed deeper this time. The elder spoke again. "The claim stands." Evan leaned against a console, tired beyond words. "I didn't ask for this," he said quietly. The Queen stepped closer, her voice softer now. "Meant only for him. Neither did I," she said. "But the galaxy does not ask. It tests." She looked at his hands, scarred and steady. "And you passed." Outside, the stars burned on, uncaring. Inside, a human mechanic realized that fixing one broken wing had pulled him into the heart of something far bigger than himself. And there would be no going back. The station no longer belonged to Evan. That truth settled in slowly, like dust after an explosion. Avariel guards stood at every corridor entrance. Their wings were folded in respect, but their eyes missed nothing. The old repair station, once forgotten by the galaxy, had become a temporary royal ground. Evan did not like it. He walked through the engine bay, checking systems out of habit. The machines were fine. Better than fine, actually. Avariel engineers had upgraded power lines, reinforced walls, and installed shields that could stop military fire. All of it had been done quietly, efficiently, and without asking him first. They didn't even ask, Evan muttered. They believe the space now serves a higher purpose, said a calm voice behind him. Evan turned. The Queen stood there, her wings half open, catching the blue glow of the engines. She moved with ease now, no sign of pain. That still surprised him. A higher purpose than keeping people alive? Evan asked. She considered that. In my culture, survival is assumed. Meaning is what matters. Evan sighed. That's the problem. Humans don't work that way. That, she said gently, is why you succeeded where we failed. They walked together through the station. The guards kept their distance. Word had spread quickly among the Avariel. The human mechanic was not a servant. He was not a prisoner. He was something new, and no one knew how to treat him. Messages flooded in from across Avariel space. Councils demanded explanation. Military leaders asked for replication of the wing restoration. Healers argued. Nobles whispered. And beneath it all was fear. Evan saw it clearly now. They're scared you'll change things, he said. Yes, the Queen replied. They are correct. She stopped near a viewport. Outside, stars stretched endlessly. For thousands of cycles, we believed our limits were sacred. That suffering was proof of purity. You showed us a different path. I just fixed what didn't work, Evan said. You rebuilt what we accepted as fate. That was harder to answer. The first formal council meeting was held aboard the Queen's flagship, docked nearby. Evan did not want to go. He argued. He protested. None of it mattered. You are part of this now, the Queen told him. Whether you wish it or not. The council chamber was massive, shaped like an open sky. Avariel elders perched on raised platforms, wings folded like cloaks. Their eyes followed Evan as he walked beside the Queen. He felt exposed. The elder who had spoken before stepped forward. We are gathered to address a disruption, Evan grimaced. Nice way to put it. The Queen did not stop him. That alone shocked the council. The human mechanic, the elder continued, has altered royal biology using foreign methods. This challenges our laws, our beliefs, and our balance. Evan raised a hand. With respect, your balance was broken when your Queen couldn't fly. A sharp intake of breath echoed through the chamber. The Queen's wings shifted slightly. Let him speak. Evan took a breath. I didn't replace who you are. I didn't erase your culture. I worked with what was there and gave it support. Humans do that. We adapt. We survive. And at what cost? Another elder demanded. The cost of standing still is extinction, Evan replied. Silence fell. Then a new voice entered the chamber, sharp and cold, spoken like a species that burns through worlds. Evan turned. A tall Avariel noble stepped forward, feathers dark and eyes hard. Humans fix problems by breaking rules. That is not wisdom, that is danger. I didn't come here to lecture your people, Evan said. I came here because someone was hurt. And now you are claimed. Protected.
Elevated, Evan clenched his fists.
You think I planned that? I think humans never plan the consequences, the noble replied. Before Evan could respond, alarms flared again. Not battle alarms. Internal alarms. Security breach, a voice announced. Royal chamber compromised. The Queen moved instantly. Lock down all sections. Too late. The noble's wings snapped open. Energy flared around him. He lunged, not at the Queen, but at Evan. Everything happened fast. Guards reacted, but Evan was closer. He did not think. He moved. He grabbed a loose power tool from a nearby console and slammed it into the noble's wing joint. The energy discharge disrupted the noble's balance. Crashed hard, feathers scattering, guards pinned him within seconds. The chamber erupted in chaos. The Queen stood frozen, eyes locked on Evan. You defended yourself, the elder said, shaken. I defended your Queen, Evan replied, breathing hard. The noble struggled against restraints. You see? He shouted. The human brings violence into sacred space. The Queen raised her voice, and the chamber stilled. No, she said. He brought loyalty. She stepped toward Evan. In our law, she said, loud enough for all to hear, one who protects the Queen, at risk to himself, strengthens the claim. Evan stared at her. You're making this worse. She looked almost amused. Change often feels that way. The noble was removed, stripped of rank. The council ended without resolution, but the message spread faster than any decree. A human had stood in a royal chamber, spoken without fear, and protected the queen with his own hands. Across Averial space, reactions divided sharply. Some saw Evan as a threat, others saw him as proof that stagnation could be broken. And some began to ask dangerous questions. What else could humans fix? That night, Evan stood alone in the bay, staring at the stars. The queen joined him quietly. You could leave, she said. I would not stop you. They wouldn't let me go. Not now. He turned to her. Did you know this would happen? She hesitated. I knew the risk. That's not an answer. She met his gaze. I knew you would endure it. Evan laughed softly, without humor. That's not comforting. She stepped closer. You are not weak, Evan Hale. You faced our council and survived. Few of my people can say the same. I don't want power, he said. Neither did I, she replied. Until power was the only way to protect what mattered. She unfolded her wings slightly. The metal supports gleamed. They are not just wings, she said. They are a promise. That we are allowed to change. Evan looked at them, then back at the endless dark beyond the station. Somewhere out there, other species were watching. Learning. Human ingenuity had touched a crown, and the galaxy had noticed. Whatever came next would not be small. And Evan knew, deep down, that the hardest part was still ahead. The days that followed were relentless. Evan had expected attention, maybe curiosity. He had not expected this. Every corridor he walked, guards followed silently, their eyes sharp and wings folded in tension. The station's hum, once comforting, now felt like a drum of expectation. Outside, Averial fleets glimmered in formation, their patterns precise, waiting for instructions, and all of it revolved around him. He had never asked for this. He had never wanted to be more than a mechanic. Yet now he carried a title he did not understand, a claim he did not accept, and a responsibility that extended across the stars. The queen watched him with calm intensity. Her wings, once broken and limp, were now full of controlled strength. The metal and alloy that Evan had woven into their structure gleamed faintly, as if alive, and every movement rippled with power. She had flown again after the first battle, testing her strength, perfecting control, and showing the galaxy that she was not just restored, she was elevated. Evan sat in the maintenance bay, tracing circuits and scanning diagnostics that no human engineer had ever touched. The Queen had ordered upgrades to the station's systems, integrating Averial technology with his own human modifications. Shields, propulsion, and energy conduits now sang with a strange harmony, a mix of biology and engineering. And yet, no matter what he fixed, no matter how stable the systems became, Evan could feel the tension rising. Why are they still watching us? He asked quietly. The Queen's voice floated beside him, calm but firm. Because you exist here. I didn't ask for this. You didn't ask to fix my wings either, she said. And yet you did. Actions matter more than intentions. Evan turned his gaze to her. Actions like repairing wings, or actions like claiming a human without his permission? Her golden eyes reflected the hum of the machinery. Some risks are unavoidable. Some claims are necessary. You are necessary. He looked away, scanning the room again, trying to convince himself that the numbers on the displays were more important than what she said. But he felt the weight of her gaze. Another fleet approaches, said one of the station guards, breaking the quiet. The display showed multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace. Enemy ships, not Averial. Evan's stomach tightened. How do they know we're here? They've seen our power, the Queen said softly. They've heard the stories, and they fear the possibility of human ingenuity. He looked at the ships on the monitor. Sleek, black, armed with weapons calibrated for maximum destruction. The station could defend itself, but only if every system worked perfectly, and only if he did not falter. They're coming for me, he said. They're coming for what you represent, she corrected. The station went into high alert. Doors sealed, shields activated, and power flowed through circuits that Evan had reinforced just days ago. He moved quickly, directing energy from the auxiliary systems into the main shields. Every calculation had to be perfect. One mistake would cost them both their lives. Shields at 70%, Evan called. Auxiliary power routing to secondary conduits. Hold steady. Outside, the enemy fleet approached, their weapons primed. Evan monitored the energy readings as the Queen stood on the observation deck, wings half extended, preparing to launch. "You don't have to do this," Evan said. "I do," she replied. "This is not just my survival. This is proof that change can exist in our galaxy. That power does not belong to fear alone." Evan swallowed. He had fixed her wings, yes, but now he realized that he had also changed something within her people. What had been a sacred law of suffering and limitation was now challenged by the strength of human reasoning and courage. "Incoming fire!" a guard shouted. Energy beams struck the station, shaking it violently. Evan dived toward the console, rerouting power and reinforcing the shield nodes. Sparks flew along conduits, but the system held. The station groaned, but it did not fail. The Queen leapt toward the bay doors. Her wings flared in a spectacular display. Metal reinforcements glinted, feathers ruffled, and energy pulsed through the alloyed lattice Evan had constructed. With a leap, she launched into space. Evan watched, tense. The enemy fleet had expected a broken queen, a wounded ruler. Instead, they faced her in full strength, wings blazing with human-engineered energy and natural power combined. She struck with precision, dodging and weaving through fire while returning energy pulses with lethal accuracy. From the bay, Evan coordinated. "Divert power to forward shields," he called. "Increase output to dorsal emitters. Adjust frequency on the main pulse." His hands flew across the controls, improvising as he had always done on failing engines and broken systems. Human intuition, combined with a desperate will to survive, guided every action. The Queen's attacks were devastating. Enemy ships faltered, energy shields cracked, and several vessels disintegrated under her onslaught. Even the fleet's commanders hesitated, surprised by the combination of Avriel's skill and human ingenuity. Minutes passed like hours. Evan's mind raced, calculating risk, rerouting power, predicting enemy maneuvers. Then one ship broke through the formation, heading straight for the station. "Impact in 60 seconds, a guard yelled. Evan's heart pounded. He had seconds to act. Without thinking, he initiated an emergency override, sending every ounce of auxiliary power into the shield matrix facing the incoming ship. The station trembled violently as the energy absorbed the attack. Sparks and heat filled the bay, but the shield held. The enemy ship shattered in a flash of light against the reinforced barrier. Silence followed. The Queen returned to the station, landing with the grace only a true ruler could manage. Her wings folded neatly now, glowing faintly with residual energy. She looked at Evan, her expression unreadable. "You are human," she said quietly, "and yet you are more than I expected." "I just didn't want them to die," Evan replied. His chest heaved with exhaustion. "I don't want credit. Credit is not why I claim you," she said. "You have proven loyalty, skill, and courage. You have faced what others feared, and that is why the claim stands." Evan exhaled slowly. The reality settled over him like a heavy cloak. He was not just a mechanic anymore. He was part of her world, part of her rule, and part of her future. Outside the station, the remaining enemy ships retreated. Rumors would spread across the galaxy about the human who repaired the Queen's wings, who coordinated defense from within a remote station, who had survived Avariel judgment and enemy fire alike. Not as a ruler to a subject, but as a leader to someone essential. "You will stay," she said softly. "Not because you are bound, but because you are needed." Evan hesitated, looking at the hand. This was not what he had wanted. Not what he had imagined when he had worked alone in the station. But he realized the truth. His skills, his courage, his human ingenuity, they were not just useful, they were irreplaceable. He took her hand. "I didn't ask for this," he said. "No," she replied, "but the galaxy did. And with that, the station, once forgotten, became a beacon. A human and an Avriel queen, working together, had changed the rules of power and survival." The stars outside stretched endlessly, but for the first time, Evan felt that the impossible was only the beginning. No one would forget the day when wings healed and a mechanic became legend. The Queen's claim was no longer just law, it was a partnership. And in the silence that followed, as shields hummed and stars blinked beyond the viewport, Evan realized that the greatest battles were not only fought in space, but in the choices humans made when facing impossible odds. He had fixed her wings, and now together, they were ready to reshape the sky itself. The galaxy had never seen a union like this. A human mechanic and a queen of the Avariel side by side, ready to face what no one thought possible. The station had become a fortress, the fleet a protective screen, but beyond that the stars stretched endlessly, filled with enemies who would test their strength. Evan worked tirelessly. He had learned more in the past weeks than he had in years of fixing engines and conduits. He knew every system, every conduit, every energy line on the station in the Queen's fleet ships. His human mind adapted, anticipated, and innovated faster than the enemies could predict. He had become more than a mechanic. He had become a strategist, a guide, a partner in survival. The Queen watched him quietly as he moved among the consoles, hands flying across touch panels and energy arrays. Her wings, now fully healed and reinforced, flexed gently with every motion. She had flown through battle, struck down enemy ships, and proved that the power of human innovation could amplify her natural strength. The galaxy had witnessed a force that was no longer fragile, no longer limited, and no longer bound by expectation. "The sensors show movement," Evan said. His voice was calm but tight. "They are bigger than the last wave, faster and more heavily armed." The Queen stepped beside him, her presence radiating calm authority. "Then we do what we have always done. We face them. They will not stop until one of us falls," Evan said, scanning the incoming ships. "And I can't let that happen." "You will not be alone," she said, extending her hand. "Together we are more than they imagine." The moment came sooner than expected. From the dark void of space, hundreds of enemy vessels emerged, black silhouettes against the stars, weapons glowing red. They advanced with precision, coordinated as if they shared one mind. But they had not accounted for the Queen, nor for the human who had rebuilt her wings and her faith and strength. "Shields at maximum," Evan called. "Divert power to forward emitters and stabilize the energy flow. I need the auxiliary conduits ready for the main pulse." The Queen's wings flared as she leapt into the void, energy pulsing through the metal-laced feathers. She moved like lightning, cutting through the enemy formation with precision. Evan watched her on the monitors, adjusting shield frequencies and recalibrating weapon outputs to complement her flight pattern. The first wave of attackers fired, energy blasts slamming into the station's shields. Sparks erupted, alarms screamed, but the reinforced system held steady. Evan's calculations were perfect, his improvisations flawless. Every action of the Queen synchronized with his adjustments, creating a rhythm that no enemy could anticipate. "You're amazing," one of the Avriel commanders said, disbelief in his voice. "I have never seen such coordination." Evan didn't respond. He could not. His focus was total. Every beam, every pulse, every shield modulation had to be timed to perfection. One miscalculation, and the station would explode, the Queen would fall, and the galaxy would lose what they had just begun to understand. The Queen struck again, targeting a group of enemy ships attempting to flank the station. Her wings cut through space, metal reinforcements shimmering, energy coursing along the feathers like living lightning. She twisted and turned, using every ounce of strength and ingenuity Evan had helped her restore. The enemy ships faltered, shields failing, engines burning under her assault. But there were too many. One vessel broke through the formation, heading straight for the station. Evan's hands flew across the controls. "Auxiliary shields to dorsal grid. Increase pulse frequency." The energy from the station converged, forming a barrier that stopped the ship moments before impact. Sparks erupted, alarms screamed, but the station survived. The Queen returned, her wings folding gracefully as she landed beside Evan. "You are human," she said quietly, eyes softening, "and yet you are beyond anything I expected." "I just didn't want to fail," Evan said. His chest heaved. "I didn't want them to die." "You did not fail," she said. "You saved not just lives, but the balance. You proved that our limitations are not fixed." Evan shook his head. "I didn't do this for glory. I did it because I had no choice. Choice defines us," she said. "And you chose courage. You chose life. You chose strength. That is why the claim stands." The enemy fleet began to retreat, their numbers thinned, their morale broken. They had not expected a Queen who could fly stronger than ever, nor a human who could command a station and fleet with unmatched skill. The legend of human ingenuity had been written in energy and steel, in wings and courage. Evan exhaled, leaning against a console. He was tired beyond measure. His mind raced with calculations, but his heart was calm for the first time in days. He looked at the Queen, seeing not just a ruler, but a partner, a comrade, a symbol of what could happen when courage and skill cross species. "You could leave," she said softly. "No one would stop you. No law would demand it." "I couldn't," Evan said. Not now. Not after everything we've done. I don't belong in the stars on my own. You belong here, she said, taking his hand. And the galaxy will remember why. Not because I am queen, nor because you are human, but because together we proved that nothing is beyond repair, nothing is beyond hope. He nodded, understanding at last. He had fixed her wings. But he had also fixed something far larger, the belief that humans were weak, insignificant, bound by limitations. In the eyes of the Averiel and every other species watching, humans were capable of extraordinary things. The station hummed around them, shields stabilizing, systems running smoothly, lights blinking in rhythm with energy flows. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, but Evan felt a strange peace. He had faced danger beyond imagining, fought battles that no human should have survived, and now stood as a symbol of hope. The queen extended her wings slightly, metal and energy rippling along the reinforced frame. "See this?" she said. "This is more than healing. This is evolution. This is proof that courage and ingenuity matter, even where others see only weakness." Evan smiled faintly. "I never thought fixing wings would be like this." "Few do," she said. "Few understand that every action changes the world. You have changed it more than you know." He looked at the stars beyond the viewport, then at the fleet surrounding the station. Ships from across Averiel's space, watching, learning, inspired. And beyond them, the rest of the galaxy hearing rumors that would become legend. The battle was over. The station and fleet were intact. The queen had proven her strength. Evan had proven his. Together they had rewritten the rules of power, survival, and ingenuity. "You will stay," the queen said. "Not as a subject, not as a servant, but as a partner. Your life is now part of this. Part of me. Part of what we have built together." Evan took a deep breath. "I don't know if I deserve this." "You do," she said firmly. "Because you faced the impossible. Because you acted when others hesitated. Because you fixed what no one else could." Outside, the stars blinked, indifferent and eternal. But inside the station, in the quiet hum of reinforced systems and metal-laced wings, Evan felt something profound. He had started as a mechanic, small and forgotten. Now he was legend. Not because he sought it, not because he desired it, but because he acted when the universe demanded courage. The queen extended her hand again, and this time he took it without hesitation. The galaxy waited. Battles, challenges, and unknown threats lay ahead. But for the first time, Evan felt ready. Not just to survive, but to lead, to innovate, and to prove that humans were capable of more than anyone had ever imagined. Together they looked out at the stars, their wings and hands intertwined. Humanity had reached the sky in a way no one expected, and the universe had no choice but to notice. He had fixed her wings, and now nothing could stop them from reshaping the future. The stars themselves seemed to pulse with the promise of possibility, and Evan understood that this was only the beginning. The human mechanic and the queen of the Averiel had rewritten destiny, and the galaxy would never forget the day courage, skill, and ingenuity united to defy expectation. The future was theirs to build, and they would do it together. And nothing would be the same again.